Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar vs. Trevor here, joined by Thomas, as always, and we are talking about Dumb Money, unfortunately. This is the new film from Craig Gillespie, who I've actually liked quite a bit of his stuff in the past. Like, I liked I, Tonya quite a bit. I think it's very, very good. I liked Cruella more than most people. I thought that Cruella was kind of fun. But this thing, so it's about the GameStop stock thing that happened where during COVID, where people are like, oh, we're gonna short, like go against the short and pump a bunch of money into it, so that way it screws over all the rich people who were trying to short the stock, and then we make a bunch of money off of it. And it was led by like this YouTuber online and all these types of things. And this happened like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I just. uh,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my feeling as well. I don't think it fundamentally works as a film.
yeah.
I think structurally, at its bare bones, this film is problematic. I don't think
Yeah.
Giuseppe direction is not worth mentioning. I do think he does at least incorporate some energy into it. It stops it
Eh,
being completely flat. I think it was going into it. I'd heard that it's really flat, it's really dull. I don't think that. I don't think it's quite as bad as people are saying in terms of the directing. I do think he brings his sort of signature energy into it. However, yeah, I just think the screenplay and story wise, the story doesn't work as a film, and I don't think this story was ever worth filming. Really, I guess it's
yeah.
shallow, but possibly true.
Right. I mean, it's it's trying to be an ensemble film, which is really hard when your ensemble, like inherently within the confines of the story, can't interact. So it's then very hard to like create like tension and energy between the cast members
Yeah,
if you're not even having them in the same room. And like it can be done, but it's really, really difficult and takes a really, really like I don't want to say like a competent director, because Gillespie is competent. But like I don't know, like you can't tell it in a conventional way. And I've talked about this before with like films that are directly pertaining to the internet. It is very hard to tell those stories in an extremely conventional and formalist manner that you would tell a bunch of other stories.
yeah,
Um, and I really think that that is a problem with this one. It's trying to tell like a typical like like the Big Short, or one of these types of biopics, but there's absolutely no energy between the cast. And if you just want to say, oh, we'll just focus on one of the individual stories, those stories are boring. They don't work on their own as standalone stories. They can't stand on their own, which is why it has to be told in an ensemble, which then doesn't work.
yeah. And I mean, because the best moments are where you get to Paul Dano and Pete Davidson reacting, those sorts of
Hmm.
bits, and Seth Rogen and Nick Offerman, those phone call stuff with that. I think the
Yep.
bits where the cast are actually interacting, the bits where they can find sort of loopholes or
Yeah.
workarounds to get sort of a bit more casting, those are the bits that work. The bits where it's just America Ferrera sitting on a bus or Anthony Ramos sitting behind a counter, those just don't work and feel like they drag the pace back a bit and drag the whole sort of film momentum to a
Yeah.
halt. So it's not like they were trying to explore too much. I think these were possibly the most interesting characters in this story to explore,
Yeah.
but they're not very interesting within themselves. And as you say, yeah, they just lack chemistry, and each sort of thing, each story feels very separate from the rest of them with the whole. So it feels very disjointed, I guess. And that's the main word I'd use to describe this film, probably disjointed. I
Yeah.
don't think it's I think it's a commendable effort. Like I think just maybe they trying his best. I think all the cast are trying their best. No one's really a standout, but they're all doing good work or good enough work. But yeah, the film
I
just suffers from
guess.
very, very inherent structural problems.
And it just all of that, like, it does feel like kind of just incompetent in a way that just like I don't know how else you could do this story without it being it feeling like such a, as you said, disjointed mess. But like also it isn't very fun. Like I didn't I don't know, like, I got absolutely nothing from the experience. I don't think, like, the humor landed at all. I don't think any of the, like, triumphant moments worked at all. It just, like, emotionally felt very flat, I guess, throughout the entirety of the runtime for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could find. I think the most interesting. I think the reason like following Paul Dana was probably the best decision, obviously, because I do think there is some emotion there to gauge from that, but that's really the only story I think you get that from. I think they try and incorporate that with the American Ferrera stuff. I don't think it works as much as Ferrera seems to be trying her best. That story
Yeah.
just fell flat. So I think all the surrounding stories surrounding the Paul Dana central one do fall a bit flat. But I think there is enough there in the Paul Dano and in his interactions with his family and all of that kind of stuff that do work. I guess I didn't hate that aspect of the film, and I
I
do think
guess.
there is
I don't know,
something
just
there.
the entirety of the cast felt like a bit wasted to me because it's an incredibly talented cast, and it never felt like anybody was given anything substantial to work with. Um, like this cast is ridiculous,
Yes, I
and
mean every so often you will just see a face pop up and oh, I didn't remember you
you're
were in this
here?
film, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I gained absolutely nothing from this film. I don't really think there's any type of, like, artistic merit to this film. I don't know if the story needed to be told, and obviously, like, no story needs to be told. No film has to exist. No film needs to earn its own existence, but, like, you should, like, give me something to work with. Like, I don't know. I just, like I was at least like, I wasn't expecting to necessarily like this film, but I was at least hoping to just have something to at least, like, have fun with it, and I felt absolutely nothing with this movie.
Yeah, and I can see why those problems would be there. I mean, at least the film does seem to fall on the right side of the politics aspect. Like,
I
it does paint the
guess,
villains
yeah.
very obviously. Like, yes, Sebastian Stan is the villain here. Yes, Seth Rogen is the villain here. Yes, Nick Offerman, etc., etc. So at least it's not dodgy politically wise. I
Yeah,
guess you could
it
say.
isn't like this could have gone much worse if it was like, let's look at both sides of the story. And I was worried like early on it was starting to empathize with like the like Seth Rogen character and like these rich guys like, oh my god, our family is losing so much money. And like it didn't go full in on that.
No,
But like it's still though like it has nothing substantial to say. It has nothing substantial to say about like the economic system. Like, it's
no,
just simply, like, telling the story. I don't really think it has, like, necessarily a strong position. It's just telling the story, and inherently, if you're gonna focus on these people as the protagonists, but, like, it feels like the most, like, surface level, like, analysis that you would find in a Reddit comment, like, where people are just like, like, "Oh, well, rich people are bad, right?" Without, like, I don't know. And obviously this isn't the type of film that's gonna have like this big like economic statement and this massive understanding about like like systematic like economic exploitation, all these types of things, and like the problems with Wall Street and the stock market and everything. But it's like again, it felt like it was giving nothing. Like there's absolutely like it has nothing to say. I don't
potentially,
know.
potentially, but I don't know if it was a completely unworthwhile experience. I'd be looking at it in terms of rating, probably a 5 out of 10. I think it's just exactly right there. It's an average smack bang in the middle film. It's the type of film that you will forget about fairly soon after. But whilst
Yeah.
you're watching it, there is stuff there to gain. I'd say it's just not really anything groundbreaking, anything that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really frustrating. Just a very annoying film to watch, I guess. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
wasn't frustrated because I sort of knew exactly what to expect going in. I don't know.
yeah,
This just didn't. It didn't like. I could have predicted exactly how I would have felt going in, as I felt coming
that's
out.
true. That's true. I'm just a bit more optimistic before I watch every movie. I hope that everything can be good, and
Yes.
it's not. But to talk about awards,
I mean,
I,
nothing really big except I think the only thing is SAG ensemble. If they're looking for contenders, the ensemble is big. The ensemble is filled with big names. It probably won't get any other nominations at SAG, but it could just get a random one.
it could happen though.
What?
Golden Globe comedy actor for Paul Dano. That
Oh,
category
that's true. Yeah, yeah,
is
that is true.
empty. It
Yeah.
is empty, and they're doing 6 nominees now. Like,
I mean, actually, you say that it could do a bit bigger in the Globes now. The sixth, like it could be the sixth in comedy picture as well,
oh no.
because it is crowd pleasing. It was received mixed reviews, but I'd say overall mixed positive. Really,
People aren't watching this movie though.
people aren't watching it. Yes, that is the problem. That is the problem. But it does feel to an extent like a Globe sort of thing. I guess.
Yeah, maybe if they don't wanna go for, like, something like Next Goal Wins because it's just bad,
Exactly.
they go for something
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
but
Like this is more widely received, better received than
yeah,
Next Goal Wins. So
yeah.
yeah.
So, I don't know. regardless, it isn't going to be anything substantial in the award season, just like it wasn't really anything substantial as a film. So not great. You can watch it if you like, but I don't think there's any strong urging coming from us to go see it because it's not very good. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. You can go support the strikes in the link in the description, in addition to following us on social media if that is something you're interested in. But until next time, thank you for watching. Stay safe and goodbye.